Let's break it all down to the absolute basics. What does survival really hinge on? It's food. Simple as that. It's not just about being hungry. It's the currency of life itself. It dictates who's healthy, who's strong, who's in charge. Literally everything comes down to securing that next meal.
And that brings us to this powerful idea. See, this isn't just a fancy way of saying animals get hungry. No, this is the core principle, the rule book for a constant, high-stakes battle that defines existence for every single living creature on this planet.
So, let's jump right into the action. Our first stop, the Danube Delta. And you see that fish carcass washed up on the shore? Looks like a simple prize, a lucky find, right? Well, that little thing is about to become the flashpoint for an all-out war.
Just watch how fast this goes sideways. First, the crows think they've struck gold. But nope, out of nowhere, a clever jackal snatches their prize. And all that commotion? It's like a dinner bell for two massive white-tailed eagles who dive right in, sparking a three-way brawl. And in all that chaos, the original crows, the smart little operators they are, swoop back in like commandos to reclaim whatever they can. It's a perfect example of one simple rule. Everyone is an opportunist.
Now, this principle isn't just in the Danube Delta, it's a global story. Let's head to the heart of Africa, where the combatants are on a whole other level. And here, we're going to see two completely different strategies for winning this war: the lone wolf approach versus the power of the pack.
First up, the cheetah, the undisputed master of the sprint. It is just a blur of speed. But that incredible burst of energy comes with a very steep price. After the hunt, the cheetah is completely exhausted, and that's its greatest vulnerability. It's a phenomenal runner, for sure, but not a great fighter, so it has to eat fast, desperately, always looking over its shoulder, because it knows that hyenas and lions are always watching, just waiting to steal its prize.
Now, in total contrast to the cheetah's solo act, you have the lionesses. They operate with coordinated power. They're like a well-oiled machine where each member has a specific role. Some chase, others set up the ambush. This teamwork lets them take on much larger prey and, maybe more importantly, defend their kill. It's the ultimate showdown, individual talent versus the might of the pack.
And this dynamic isn't just for mammals on the ground. Up in the skies over Spain, you can see a very similar drama play out. A massive imperial eagle, a true apex predator, finds itself under a relentless assault from a whole swarm of smaller red kites. Their coordinated attacks create this whirlwind of chaos, forcing the eagle to just abandon its meal. Once again, you see it plain as day. Numbers and teamwork can absolutely overwhelm individual size and strength.
So, we've seen how a hard-won meal can be stolen. But it would be a huge mistake to just write off scavengers as mere thieves. They are masters of opportunity, and they are armed with their own pretty formidable arsenals.
And that brings us to the hyena. Look, a single hyena might not be a match for a lioness, but a whole pack? That's a different story. We're talking about the strongest jaws for their size in the entire animal kingdom, combined with some ferocious aggression and stamina that just won't quit. And you can see it right here. Their relentless, coordinated assault is just enough to break the will of the lionesses, forcing them to abandon a kill they worked so hard for.
What looks like pure chaos actually has a strict hierarchy. The larger, more powerful black vultures get there first. Their strong beaks can tear through that tough hide, and that's a crucial first step, because it gives the smaller griffin vultures access to the meat inside. But this is no act of charity. In this frenzy, it's the most aggressive, the hungriest individuals who just shove their way to the front. Hunger is the ultimate driving force.
But the fight for food isn't always a physical battle. Sometimes the conflict is won through sheer presence, through intimidation, and through a set of rules that everyone just seems to understand.
The hyenas may have just won their prize from the lionesses, but this game is not over. Not by a long shot, because there is one animal that even hyenas are terrified of. The second that adult male lion arrives, everything changes. They know instantly that this is a fight they cannot win.
And just like that, there is no fight. The lion doesn't even need to attack. He reclaims the kill with his intimidating presence and a powerful roar. That's it. It is a stark reminder that in the animal kingdom, sometimes the ultimate weapon is just your place in the hierarchy.
Okay, let's scale things way, way down for a minute, but the stakes, they're just as high. On a single branch, two praying mantises meet. Both are lethal hunters, both are perfectly matched, and they're both competing for the exact same territory. The tension is just palpable, right? You're expecting a sudden violent strike, so what's going to happen? Who's going to make the first move?
But what happens next is totally unexpected. See, this species of mantis has a rule. They never kill their own kind. So instead of a deadly battle, they start this long, ritualized display. It's like a silent negotiation of gestures and poses, a non-lethal contest of wills, just to see who's going to back down first. And here is the brutal irony. While these two were completely absorbed in their symbolic, peaceful conflict, they completely failed to notice a third, hidden predator. A predatory grasshopper seizes the opportunity of their distraction and takes them both. It's a chilling reminder that in the fight for food, even a moment of distraction can be fatal.
From the micro-dramas of insects to the epic battles of predators, the core conflict is always the same. But this struggle for survival isn't just limited to carnivores. Oh no, it's a universal law that governs every kind of animal, in every corner of the globe.
Take the sun-baked Canary Islands. Even herbivores get drawn into the conflict. When the dry summer withers the landscape, those scarce, moisture-rich fruits become a prize worth fighting for. And in this battle, size matters. The larger, stronger lizards dominate, and they ruthlessly drive away their smaller rivals.
Head way north, to Alaska. The annual salmon run brings a time of temporary peace and plenty for the grizzly bears. For a few glorious weeks, the rivers are teeming with fish. But this harmony is fleeting. As the season wanes and the fish become scarce, that fragile peace just shatters. Driven by the desperate need to fatten up for winter, the bears clash violently over the dwindling resources.
Now let's go to the Atacama, the driest desert on Earth. Even here, the rules don't change. The desiccated carcass of a guanaco might not look like much, but to a culpio fox, that is a treasure trove of protein. And whoever finds it has to fiercely defend it, even from its own relatives who want a piece of the action.
And finally, let's go beneath the waves. A pack of white-tip sharks might patrol the reef together like a pack of wolves, a perfect picture of cooperation. But the second one of them makes a kill, all that cooperation just evaporates. It instantly turns into a frantic, brutal competition.
So from the desert to the ocean, from the sky to the rivers, the story just repeats itself. This relentless, planet-wide conflict is more than just chaos. It is the engine that drives life forward, the force that shapes every single ecosystem and fuels the constant process of evolution.
Which leaves us with a final thought to consider. If this brutal, never-ending fight for food is the fundamental process that drives all life on our planet, what does that really tell us about the true nature of survival?